Welcome back to MMAOddsBreaker. Of course, we got the old man Dan Henderson.
Old?
Aren't you age-wise? Aren't you the oldest guy still competing? Is there anybody older than you?
I think it's been like that for 2 or 3 years now.
No, just happened. No, I'm denying your age line. It just happened. You don't. You've always been one of those guys that never really felt your age. You never really, when everybody else was doing, like most guys at 40 years old are looking to sit on a couch and hang out. Most guys at 42 can't get out of bed or maybe play weekend softball, maybe weekend tennis. Most guys at 45, they might play a pickup basketball game during Thanksgiving with their family, and then they're hurt for a month. But you're still out there literally training twice a day. We talked about it before.
I wouldn't say that I'm a guy that's never felt my age because I feel it quite often, but I've gotten smarter with my training and got to ease into it for 2 or 3 weeks before I really hit the training camp hard. But, doing it smart like that, I feel great.
Do you think that you've been able to survive this long in MMA is because the way that we overtrained in wrestling for so long and then got smarter when we got in MMA? We don't train as hard as we did when we were in college and when especially for you when you're in the Greco team for the Olympics. Is it because of that you're able to survive now because you've actually been able to back off your training so much because you've actually learned more?
Yeah, well, I think that's been tough to do, to back off and to feel like you're not quite doing enough.
Right.
So, excuse me. Yeah, I think, over the years, I just have gotten smarter and backed off of things and constantly got to tell my guys that, hey, just because I'm not doing something don't mean you shouldn't be training, a little bit harder.
Right.
They've got quite a bit more to learn.
Yeah, and that is hard too, especially in your position because you're the owner of the gym, plus you're one of the main coaches of the gym, and then you're still competing. So people are like, oh, well, if Dan's doing this or this volume or this intensity, I should follow suit. When it's like, guys, I'm 20 years older than you are. Like, it's a different game for me. You have to do something different. Is it? Do you have to sometimes call some of the guys at home, be like, look, just because you said it, just because I'm not there, you have to keep doing it. But you actually have to physically get on them. Like, look, you got to get out there and get to work.
No, I don't ever do that. I'm not their mom or dad. If they don't want to be there and put in the work, I'm not going to waste my time either. And we've got a good group of coaches that kind of collectively are the coach. And occasionally after practice or something, I might have to say, hey, look, you guys need to be doing extra cardio, extra classes, and just to learn the techniques, just because I'm not having to do that doesn't mean you don't need it.
Before we talk about Gegard, I want to talk about Cormier and Jones. I'm sure you saw the fight, yeah?
I did.
Do you think Cormier came out against Jones the same? I mean, obviously, stylistically, it's different than when he fought you, but do you think it was the same Cormier that came out to fight you as it fought Jones?
Well, it was the same Cormier. I just feel like he didn't utilize his wrestling enough. He's so much more capable of taking Jones down than he is, Obviously, Jones has a different body style than most of the guys that Cormier has fought. But, I figured as soon as Cormier put his hands on Jones, he'd at least be able to take him down. And that just wasn't the case. I don't think he really – there's only one takedown that he really struggled and forced to get, and he got it, but, without control, though. He just popped him up in the air. I just feel like he wasn't – focusing on his wrestling enough, and he was winning the striking battle as soon as he started putting that much pressure on Jones. Jones stopped moving quite as much, and Cormier, I felt like, was outlanding him and just staying in his face. I thought Cormier won rounds 2 and 3, and then ran out of gas.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly what I saw. If they do a rematch and you were allowed to be in Cormier's camp, what would be the first thing you would tell him on the first day of camp? Like, how are we going to approach your technique for this next one? You're going to say more wrestling? You're going to say we got to work. We're going to accentuate the boxing now because you won so easily. Like, what would you do as a coach?
Mix it up well like he does. He just didn't mix it up enough in that fight. He typically does in most of his fights, mix up his wrestling with his striking and and then go from there. But he didn't do that at all. He just, got in that boxing mode because he was winning that battle. But, I think he was wearing himself out trying to keep that pressure on Jones so much. And that's a lot of what happened, I think, to wear him out. If he would have taken him down and made Jones just carry his weight and work a little bit, it could have been a different fight.
To me, it looked like that Cormier was overtrained. And then when he ran out, because he never runs out of gas and shouldn't run out of gas, even in a 5-rounder, that he was completely exhausted the 4th and 5th rounds and just had the only energy he really had is getting that one takedown, like you said, for no control. If I was in his camp, I'd tell him he's got to back off. We got to do less so you have more time to heal and rest while keeping your weight down. Because it just looked like he looked so flat the first round. He won the second and third, in my opinion, as well, but still looked flat even in winning those rounds. He didn't look like the Cormier that came out against you. So I'm just wondering how you thought about it.
There's no explosion in there,
Yeah, you're right. So let's talk about explosion with you and Mousasi. That's your next bout, January 24th over in Sweden. How do you feel that this fight's going to go? Because before, like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, you had this fight. It'd be, your overhand right, the Hollywood bomb versus, and your wrestling versus his striking. But he's been submitting guys, quite frequently now. He's kind of got an all-around game. He's got a little bit better at his stand-up. Like, how do you see this fight developing now?
Well, I feel like he's had a pretty well-rounded game for a long time. It's just depending on how the fight goes, that's how it's going to end. And I've known he's, a good grappler, good on his back and on top. And his kickboxing has probably been his most known thing that he does. But, yeah, I just think that, there's a couple things. Just make him get in there and fight me and force him to brawl a little bit and don't stay on the outside where he can utilize his length to just kind of outpoint me.
Obviously, Tarek Saffiedine is in your camp. Are you spending a lot of time with him getting ready for this fight, spending time with Tarek just trying to battle stuff out and work on kickboxing with his style?
He's been pretty much injured and hasn't trained at all for this camp. I got Luke Rockhold down here right now, and Smiling Sam's always helpful, and the two of them have a really good style, especially when I get kind of in the clinch. Really very similar to Gegard, and I had Nick Catone here as well to kind of give me another body, and those guys pushed me quite a bit. I've had. I got a number of other guys too that aren't as known, but I feel like I've had a great training camp, and my diet has been great and making me feel much more energetic than most other training camps.
What's different about your diet?
I got this local restaurant that also does an eat at home program. The restaurant's called Eat, and their program is Eat at Home, and they just have been making all my meals that very lean but very tasty, and they're good. It's amazing the foods they put together and the way they taste. And I feel awesome. I don't feel worn out like I normally do.
Is it a lot more vegetables than you used to? A lot more lean meats? I mean, how is it different besides just the flavor?
It's lean meats, a lot of vegetables, a lot of sweet potatoes and squash and stuff like that, as well as the salads. So it's I feel great.
Plus not having that pressure of what am I going to cook right after practice? What am I going to have for lunch? Like it's already there. You just have to heat it up and put it together. It makes things so much easier. That's one less thing you have to stress over when you're coming home and when you're practicing.
It's been awesome to have that, and something I'll probably have for every training camp moving forward, and maybe even when I'm not in training camp.
Yeah, it's easier. It's much easier than cooking for yourself. It's so much easier.
Yeah.
So how are your daughters doing? We saw a couple posts when you're talking about Luke Rockhold. I saw a post when he had some bedazzled crap on him on Instagram. It's been a mess. So, but you don't, because everyone talks to you about fights, they never talk about the rest of your family. So your daughters are pretty successful in what they do as well. How are they doing? And are they getting sick of their dad fighting all the time? I mean, at some point they got to kind of be like, look, Dad, you've trained competed for as long as we've been alive. Like this is, can you move on to something else?
Yeah, I don't know if they're sick of it. I mean, it's the only thing they've ever known. I was fighting before they were born, and it's kind of what they grew up with, and it'd probably be strange if I wasn't. So I mean, they're doing great. My oldest daughter's playing volleyball and doing well, and my youngest daughter is 7. My stepdaughter's just turned 10, and my son just turned 14. So, we've got all the kids keeping us busy. So it's just finding time to be the taxi driver that they're used to or that they need.
Yeah, how are you balancing that? Because it is tough for you. When you got to train twice a day, then still play taxi driver. Are you finding enough time to rest, and then you're finding enough time to spend with your kids as they need it?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well, and my new wife really helps out quite a bit. So, when I have my kids, there's quite a bit going on certain days, but I just get a schedule down and do it, and I'm if I'm not resting at home on the couch, I'm resting sitting in a chair watching practice or something. So It is what it is.
Yeah, so you got to kind of find the places to rest, and sometimes it's at volleyball practice, sometimes at a volleyball game. You're literally sitting in a chair. Just this is my rest period for right now. And when this is over, I have to go right back in and get it running. This is how it goes.
Yeah.
So have you been doing much hunting at all? You've been stuck in train camp for so long.
I haven't hunted much. I went right after last May. I went to South Africa and was able to do a little bit there, just archery, and had a good time. And but that's about it. My favorite is going elk hunting that I haven't been able to do the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I know that was we talked about it before. It's one of your favorite things, and it's kind of come off the map because it always seems like when it's elk season, you're in training camp and there's no way you can break away.
Right.
That's obviously one of the things you're going to do when you retire is like, I'm going back to elk hunting because that's obviously one of your passions. There's something else that you're looking back on. You're like, when I retire, I'm going to get back to doing that again too. Now that the schedule will slow down a little bit more. No, I mean, I don't know. Just spending more time with my kids in general. And the biggest thing is being able to plan trips. I can't plan things more than a month or so in advance, or if I know I have a fight, I can plan 2 or 3 things right after. It's, there's no set schedule. It's a year-round sport that you can have a fight at any time. So it's not like you can make advanced reservations or things like that. That's been the biggest thing, and that's probably the thing that I'm looking forward to most, is just being able to schedule my own time. And for the folks at home, we're talking about retirement with Dan Henderson, but he's not retiring anytime soon. I'm just asking him, at some point, it's going to be 10 years from now before he actually gets to it. But so don't think that he's going away anytime soon. What do you think is going to happen at your weight class now? Like, how are things going to change up? How are things going to swing up? Are you at 205? Are you jumping back in again, looking for what's going to happen with you in the mix-up after this fight? You beat Gegard, you knock him out, you submit him. Where does it put you, and what's going to happen?
No, I don't know. There's so many guys at both weight classes that are right there that there won't be an easy fight. For me, for the rest of my career, and I don't want an easy fight. I want to fight the top guys and start getting closer to my goal of getting that UFC belt, but. At 185, there's a lot of good guys there. Luke's probably in line for the, next title shot if he beats Machida. So, there's that. But there's a lot of good matchups I think the fans would love to see, especially if I can either weight class. I think, the fans would love to see me and Anderson Silva again, and now that he's back. So we'll see. I'm not real worried about it. I've got a tough guy with Gegard that I need to beat.
Yeah, and you can't like Conor McGregor talks about. I'm not looking past Seaver. I'm looking through him. Getting ready for the Jose Aldo fight, but that's not smart. Like you got to look at the guy you got in front of you, and Gegard's gonna be a tough fight for anybody. I don't care how new, how old, how long, you know, what your style is. He's a tough fight for anybody, and it's a good victory when you get a victory over him. It's gonna go a long way. A victory over Gegard, will it go a long way to selling more Reebok T-shirts? Because that now is the new standard is how many T-shirts can you sell to up, you know, because sponsorships are gone. It's a new game now, and so do you think a decisive victory over him is going to help you sell more T-shirts?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it depends on the victory and how it goes, but you know, I plan on going out there and making a statement. You know, we're not quite in that Reebok era quite yet. We've got a few more months, but you know, we'll see what happens. I don't know what I'll do with that, but heard about everything yet as far as what comes with it. So
we're all waiting to find out what the actual numbers are. We're all waiting to see who gets paid what. We're all waiting on it. Not only you guys waiting on it for your income checks, but we're also fans are waiting on to see how it plays out because we don't know what's going on either.
Yeah, I don't either. So we'll see.
All right. Well, that's Dan Henderson. He's getting ready to fight Gegard Mousasi coming up here January 24th in Stockholm, Sweden. It's UFC on Fox 14, so obviously for us at home here, it's going to be another Fox card. Dan, last question before you get you out of here. If you had a choice to fight for the title, well, two questions actually. You had a choice to fight for the title. What weight class would it be? And you could pick anybody in either weight class. Who would you want to be the champ when you get to go up there to try to battle for the title?
What was the second part of that question?
First question. What weight class would you rather fight at? 85 or 205 for the title?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, at this point, those 205ers, you know, DC kind of ruined me with my attitude. You know, he was a big boy, and I'd probably have quite a bit more fun down at 185.
Okay, so 185. Who do you want to be the champ when they give you the nod for the title fight?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, that's a tough question. Obviously, you know, a fight with Anderson would be cool, but it doesn't have to be for a title. Chris Weidman's a stud, and you know, it's just, I don't know. You know, and there's also the rematch I could have with Machida. There's a ton of guys in there. I don't think I'm overly excited to fight somebody like Machida just because I don't think he brings too much excitement in for the fans. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Weidman. It doesn't matter to me.
What happens if it's Rockhold?
Well, that'd be something else to think about too. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's potentially that could happen. That could be the deal. So
yeah, absolutely. You know, it is what it is, and you know, us wrestlers are used to doing that. You know, training with each other and then competing against each other. So, you know, it's not too big of a thing, but it's not something that's that close to happening. So, right. You know, he's down here helping me out, and he has a few times in the past. So.
All right, Dan. Thanks for coming on here, man. I appreciate it. Have fun. I know Sunday's your off day, so have fun today. And do me a favor, next time you see Luke, give him a slap in the face for me.
I will.
Thanks,
all right. Man. All right. Thank you, Frank. Late.